Namaskaram. The topic of presentation is Understanding Gamakas in Carnatic Music. Gamaka is an embellishment of the swara, which is the essence of Carnatic music. These Gamakas are very well understood with the help of the veena, as they can be visually and orally demonstrated. Subramanian Dikshitar, author of Sangita Sampradaya Pradarsini and Prathamabhyasa Pustakamu, published in 1904 and 1905 respectively, describes these Gamakas. He has named and defined 15 Gamakas which are known as the Panchadasha Gamakas, and in his notations he has provided signs and symbols for 11 of these Gamakas. I wish to acknowledge the web resources created by Vidya Jayaraman and P.P. Narayanaswami, which I have sourced from ibiblio.org and MusicResearchLibrary. Another major resource is a 3-part lecture by Dr. R.S. Jayalakshmi entitled Practical Workshop on Gamakas, which is a YouTube upload by eAmbalam, SaMaaGaMa in 2014. The links for all these resources have been provided. Subramanian Dikshitar gives a very detailed description of the playing technique involved. When a swara is shaken or oscillated in its own swarasthana, or if it is oscillated from its previous swara, it is called kampita. For example, the Gandhara in Mohanam. Or a Rishabha in Madhyamavati. And another variety of Kampita is when a higher note is played from its previous swarasthana. For example, the Madhyama in Shankarabharanam is played on the Gandhara fret position. This is Ga, Ma. A Madhyama which is deflected till the Panchama position on the Gandhara fret. This is also an example from Shankarabharanam. The Rishabha in Shankarabharanam is also a Kampita on the re fret itself. So these are the different varieties of Kampita. Leena, Andolita and Plavita are varieties of Kampita. Leena being of 4 Aksharakala, Andolita 8 and Plavita 10. Playing janta or double swaras is of 2 types. Playing double swaras in the ascending order is known as Puritam. And playing double swaras in the descending order is known as Pratyaghatam. In the veena, pratyaghatam can also be achieved by sounding higher swaras in lower swara positions by deflecting the strings. Or in Kambhoji, this is also known as pratyaghatam. These are the symbols used for denoting kampita, spurita and pratyaghata. In a phrase or a group of swaras, singing by stressing one of the swaras is called nokku. For example, the Gandhara and Nishada of Maya Malagola is sung with a nokku. Sani gama pada pama, gama pada ni sani da, gama pada ni sani da pama, gama pada pama, gama gani. Or the Madhyama of Bhairavi. To strike an earlier or previous swara and descend is called as ahata. Ahata is of two types, Rava and Khandimpu. According to Subramanian Dikshitar, achieving the janta effect by deflecting the string is Rava. For example, in Ananda Bhairavi, pa, pa, the second, these are two pas. The second pa, there is a stress from above, from the note above. Or in Todi, for example, this is a better example. In the present day parlance, it is understood as a quick or a brisk spurita scene. For example, in Arabi. Instead of directly descending to a lower swara, taking the help of an intermittent swara to descend is the first variety of Khandimpu. For example, in Bhairavi. Da pa ga ni. So the ga is stressed with the help of a silent ma. The ma is not pronounced, but the ga is stressed from ma. Pa ga ni. Or in Shankarabharanam, for example. Sa pa sa da va. So the pa you descend to the panchama with the help of the dhaivata note. Or in Mohanam, for example. Ga pa re there is a stress on the re note from the Gandhara. Ga pa da sa da pa re ga da pa pa re pa sa pa da. So there is an intermittent note from where the swara is stressed. Achieving a janta effect and then descending with a jaru to a lower note is the second variety of khandimpu. For example, in Sri Raga, so pa pa ma re ga sa re ga re ga re sa. So that in the help of the intermittent notes are taken to execute the jaru. These are different types of khandimpu. These are the signs and symbols used to denote nokku, ravai and khandimpu. In a single swarasthana, when shades of 1, 2 or 3 swaras are heard, then it is called as vali. Examples of this can be seen in ragas like Hindolam, Todi, Saveri. So, to deflect the Gandhara or to execute the Gandhara Gamaka, 2 swaras are required, or the help of one more swara other than the Gandhara is required. Maga, 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 ga, ma. In Shuddha Dhanyasi, sa ni sa ni sa. In Todi, to execute the Sadharana Gandhara, you require more than 2 swaras. So you require the sa, then the Shuddha Rishabha, and the Gandhara is achieved in the Chatushruti Rishabha position. So you require more than 2 or 3 swaras to execute the Gandhara Swara. Similarly, the Nishada. And some swaras, like for example in Todi again, it requires even more than 2 or 3 swaras, or sometimes even 4 swaras to execute or to show the nuances of the note. For example, in Saveri, for example, ma ga re, ma ga, so pa da ma pa, pa da ma pa. So similarly in Todi, ga re sa ni, so ma pa ga ma, ga re sa ni. Vinyasitam is of two kinds: moving upwards and downwards, sliding smoothly over the frets is known as Jaru. To ascend to the neighboring or second, third or more swaras is known as Ekkujaru or Etrajaru. To descend to the neighboring or second, third or more swaras is called as Digujaru or Irakkajaru. These are the signs and symbols used to denote Vali, Etrajaru and Irakkajaru. With syllable hum, humkara, in the manner of a kahala, a wind instrument, producing a gradually increasing sound in volume continuously, ascending from a swara to 4, 5, 6 or more according to the context, or producing a gradually decreasing sound while descending from a high swara is a humpita. This is a variety of jaru and it is vocal based. Something like that. Kurula is of two types. If in one fret the string is pulled to sound higher swaras, it is the first type of kurula called Odigimpu or Udukal. For example, in Karaharapriya scale, for example, the Gandhara is played on the Rishabha fret. The Nishada is played on the Dhaivata fret. In Sri Ranjani, the Ni is played on the Dhaivata fret. And Sa is also played on Dhaivata fret. Similarly, the Gandhara and the Madhyama is played on the Rishabha fret. So when a higher note is played on a lower fret, it is Odigimpu. To sound one swara, two or more swaras are accommodated in the Avarohana Krama, then it is known as Oraika or Orikai or simply as Orika. This is the second variety of Kurula. A popular example is Kalyani. This can also be seen in Bhairavi, for example. Pada pamapa magama ma pada mapa. Or also it can be seen in ragas like Saveri. Pada mapa. Pada mapa. These are the signs and symbols used to denote Odukal and Orikai. Placing the left hand index finger flat and hard on the fret on any swarasthana of the Mandra, Panchama and Sarani strings simultaneously and plucking either with a single pluck or separate plucks is known as Tribhinna. This is in the composition Sarsa Samadana, where this pluck is used. It is known as Tribhinna. This is a pure instrumental technique. Graces of notes produced while singing with the mouth closed is Mudrita. This is a pure vocal technique. For example, this can be used in Tanam. Numta, 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 num, numta, numta. When graces or subtle notes are produced in the veena or while singing with reduced volume, it is called as Namita. So when modulation is used while playing or plucking, it is called as Namita. A combination of two or more Gamakas is known as Mishrita. For example, in Kambhoji, or in Ananda Bhairavi, these are the symbols to denote Gamakas. Understanding these Gamakas along with the illustrated examples would lead to a better interpretation of the notation in Sangita Sampradaya Pradarsini. Thank you.